Hey, it's Jim Delaney. We're here in my hometown, the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we're here for the PRSA conference. Come join me as we head inside to hear from some of the best in the business. Okay, good afternoon. Jim Delaney here. I'm here at the PRSA conference, and we're pleased to have with us Katie Payne from Payne Publishing. So Katie, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here.
I've been coming here for years. I've been doing measurement pretty much exclusively for almost 25 years and 26. And my latest venture launches basically today. It's
That's
kind of
awesome.
exciting.
Congratulations.
PaynePublishing.com. The idea is that, especially with the emergence of standards and stuff, there's a lot more conversation now about measurement. So we're trying to put all the information in one place.
Well, I'll tell you, you talk a little bit about sort of being a veteran in the space. It seems that more and more measurement's becoming critical to the success of every PR professional. How have you seen it change, and what are some of the important areas that young professionals should focus on?
Well, it's interesting because when I first started those many years ago, it was all about maybe counting things, counting your clips or counting your impressions or whatever. Now it's much more about quality and context, that it's about what is actually being said about you and what's the context of being said about you. And I think that measurement is moving from or graduating from a primarily quantitative, very surface level place to being a real element in success without which you cannot succeed. And I think if you think about big data, which is what's driving so much of this, what's happening is that the analytics are becoming important to every aspect of the business. Why not PR?
It's interesting. There's a lot of talk today about social networks, social strategy. But if you really think about it, it's just another medium for digital. And do you think that digital has allowed or helped facilitate a level of measurement, the beginning with the internet, web services, et cetera?
The online world has been more measurable all along. The problem is the fact that there's been these silos, and digital's been over here, PR has been over here, social is bringing them together. I mean, the latest research shows that CEOs actually think that PR should run social, which I think is great.
That's an interesting point.
Except for the fact that there's not the analytical background on the PR side to make sense of it. And I think my advice to the next generation is take math. Data analytics geeks, the data geeks are out there, and they're always going to be throwing numbers at you. I mean, the agencies now, this one client I have sends me 17 tab Excel spreadsheet with 12 metrics on every page. Nobody's going to make sense of that, right? And I basically say out. Here are the 4 things you need. This is what engagement means to you. What you want people to do is you want people to come to your site and download this. Fine, that's what we're going to count. That's all we're going to count.
You're making a very interesting point here, that it's getting at the metrics that matter. Because with all the information that now can be captured and all the information that can be measured, figuring out the right metrics to drive a business becomes critical. What are your thoughts about some of the key metrics in the space?
It comes down to the goals for your organization. And this notion that there's a magic metric out there that's going to work for everybody is complete nonsense. So you really have to, department by department, company by company, define what matters, what stakeholders matter, and what the outcomes are that matter, and then work backwards from there. Another VP said to me recently, PR is the spark that starts the process. Well, fine, if that's what you think PR does, then let's measure the number of sparks.
Absolutely.
And the number of people moved along the process.
Makes a lot of sense.
But it has nothing to do with one metric. It has to do with defining what the key thing is that you're trying to accomplish and working backwards from there.
You had a talk this morning. Is there any special insights or any comments you want to make before we close?
If nothing else, it all comes down to what do you do with this data now that you've got it? And the answer is you make better decisions.
Well, that's fantastic advice. Well, Jim Delaney here again, PRSA conference with Katie Payne. Wonderful to have you today.
Great.
Thanks.
So nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much.